Appearing at a press conference with his company's Vice President of Operations, Evan Aheen, and the company's Assistant Director for Public Relations, Crimson Solano, Nexus Services Incorporated President and CEO Mike Donovan announced that his company is funding a class action lawsuit against Donald J. Trump and several agencies within his regime, seeking declaratory relief and injunctive relief under the Fifth Amendment of the United States Constitution on behalf of migrants from Mexico and Central and South America that come to the United States of America seeking asylum.
History will judge us by what we do in this hour. We have a president who has brought us to the brink of a catastrophe on our southern border and seems to cheerlead it on as if it's something that he wants to see happen. We saw him yesterday indicate that rocks would be met with deadly military force. We're amassing troops on our southern border as if we're being invaded. But in reality, a desperate group of migrants seeking a life that they can count on, seeking an opportunity to survive, a better life for their kids, safety, security, everything that our statutes that allow asylum seekers to come to this country for. The class action first seeks to define the class. It's in the lawsuit, but it's important to understand that the class is defined as all persons who are Mexican, Central American, or South American citizens who are traveling to the United States or who have attempted to enter the United States, whether at a designated port of entry or not, since October 31st, 2018, and who are seeking asylum or intending to seek asylum in the United States. Now, the President and his administration have made statements about the importance of asylum seekers finding the appropriate ports of entry. However, coming from the other side, that is not easy to do. We are setting people up for failure by requiring them to come to designated ports of entry, and it is not in the law. This is yet another example of the President overstepping his authority. So we want the court to determine that that class of people have the right to bring the following actions. Now, this is a lawsuit for declaratory relief and injunctive relief. We're asking the court to stand up, tell the president he's wrong, and force him to do the right thing.
The press conference was opened by Crimson Solano, the Assistant Director of Public Relations. Solano came to the United States after fleeing Honduras over 2 decades ago.
Every day I talk to family and friends in Honduras, and they tell me how horrible the situation over there is. One simple Google search can show you how the Honduran government is after people and how people are being treated, and in many cases murder because of that. So I do understand why they're coming here.
Nexus Services Vice President of Operations, Evan Aheen, made remarks prior to Donovan's announcement of the lawsuit. Aheen said an important part of the lawsuit is that lawyers will ask the courts to release asylum seekers that are found to have a credible fear without bond or collateral.
One of the really powerful things that we're going to seek when we get to court is a requirement, for immigrants that are applying for asylum, that are seeking asylum, that they be granted an interview, a credible fear interview. Secondly, if they are granted credible fear, meaning that they have some ability to access asylum, that they be released immediately with no financial requirements, with no delay, not keeping them warehoused. Because when we talk about the prison industrial system and we talk about the immigration detention system, we're talking about private jails that are making millions and billions of dollars off of the detention of people. So for them, they're probably pretty excited right now thinking about all these caravans coming here and all of these companies that are putting up these tent cities that are going to absolutely destroy people, without a doubt. We need to make sure that instead of filling these facilities and these jails and these concentration camps up, that we let people out and let them be with their families and let them do what the American system allows them to do, that we allow them to seek asylum, so that we can get back to being a country that we can be proud of. Because right now, I'm not very proud of my country.
Now, if you're the President of the United States, you have a responsibility, if for nothing else, than to not use words that inspire hate and violence. But for the last 2 years, that's all we've seen from this president, particularly as it relates to immigration.
If we are not successful in stopping
the coming violence on our southern border, violence that the president is encouraging with his own words. If we're not successful in stopping that, then our nation will fundamentally and forever change, if it survives at all.
Mike Donovan said his company embedded a bilingual group of private investigators into the caravan to see exactly who these asylum seekers are. And what they found was that the majority of these people just want a better life for themselves, and they never encountered any of the quote-unquote terrorist and violent criminals that Donald Trump claimed are in the caravans. These are the actual photos that were taken by Nexus's investigators. Do these look like criminals and terrorists to you? Did it look like dangerous people to you? Be honest with yourselves. Would you want them to help you if the roles were reversed? Yesterday, the New York Post reported that our troops are laying barbed wire surrounded by Constantine wire along our southern border to deter asylum seekers from crossing the border where there are no legal points of entry. Mike Donovan has received numerous death threats after announcing his company's funding of the lawsuit. He said he will not sit back and watch his country be overtaken by a fascist regime.
We're the hands and feet of God on earth. If we don't employ all of our resources to stop this evil, then we are evil. And so we are either going to fight against it or we are going to become a part of it. And I will fight against it until it's gone or I'm dead. But I will not watch this country succumb to a fascist without fighting back.
In Los Angeles, California, Theodore Whitelow, Breaking Through News.